Previously on Ayreon's Transitus.
Oh, this is so epic. Daniel burns to death. The door closes while no one's there. And then she looks behind her and Daniel is screaming in a mirror. So apparently we're going to travel back in time. And of course, Henry, being a crybaby, is like, I'm gonna tell Dad. He has not that much to brag about other than my dad is rich. And I hope the statue gets like actual significance in the story. Daniel's father offers them a house by a graveyard. He is allowed to go back. The thing is, nobody can hear or see or feel or touch him. He's just there as a ghost. In the next part, we will experience Daniel's return as a ghost and see if he can get Abby declared innocent. Yeah, Lila! I stole my cat's spot to record this. She's unhappy. You know what I say to the cat? You disobey my rules. You don't care at all. You don't give a damn about protocol. You don't belong here. Get out of my life. I am riding that second wave, y'all. Hey everyone, and welcome to the second part of this blind commentary, I guess. I'm not sure what I'm gonna call it yet. You'll see in the title. Probably be blind commentary, knowing myself. Yesterday morning, I woke up being like, Fatum, horrifico. And then all throughout yesterday, I had a dumb piece of rock stuck in my head. And then this morning, I woke up with, you're the talk of the town, which is a much better experience than Fatum, horrifico. And then just before I hit record, I had Get Out Now in my head. So I feel like those 4 songs are the ones that are sticking with me the most. Between this video and the previous video, there's been a couple days because I wanted to let the album simmer and see what songs I would like best, because the initial reaction is always different, at least with me. The initial reaction is always different than if I let it simmer for a few days. Because like the songs that I like the most initially are not always the ones I will like in the long run, which is interesting actually. So I let the first part simmer, and for now I guess Fatum Horrificum was in my head, and Talk of the Town, and Get Out Now, and Dumb Piece of Rock. Still don't entirely agree with Dumb Piece of Rock's lore, but I have come around to it a little bit. Like, it shows the supernatural stuff. Daniel needed someone to talk to, and it was something he always did in his childhood, so why wouldn't he do it now? And he never says that it actually happens. He doesn't know if it actually happens. So it's not as shoehorned in as I initially thought, but I still am kinda about it. But it's a good song. And Mike Mills is phenomenal. Just wanted to put that out there again. Alright, so second CD, popping that in right now. Yup, I hear rain. I hear rain. Is that the same way the previous part started? A lot of rain apparently in Transitus. But also fire. So that's interesting, actually. A lot of rain, a lot of fire. I guess that just contributes to the whole supernatural thing. I guess that's what it symbolizes. Quick, maybe we could still save Daniel. I don't think so, brother. I bet she set the fire on purpose. She is only after his money. That kind of makes sense that people would think that, actually. Because that's also what Henry said. And while Abby thought he was just like being desperate and having no life, which I thought too, it's actually what the people are saying. So, and seeing that kind of makes sense now, actually. That, you know, it is kind of like a forbidden love, and that's how people unfortunately would see that. People don't believe in true love anymore, people. Poor Daniel has perished in the flames. I like the word perish. Thanks for including that. Tom Baker's voice. I don't know how much Daniel will actually be able to do to convince these people otherwise, because once people think something, yeah. Woo! I like this song. So before the album was released, Ayreon over on Facebook and Twitter did a competition where he showed a little clip of a voice that was gonna be on the album, and then people had to guess who it was, and one of the lucky few would receive the comic. Now, I guessed Jan Willem Ketelaars at some point in one of these competitions. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which anymore. It turns out it wasn't Jan Willem Ketelaars. I was wrong about that. But Jan Willem Ketelaars is on the album as a villager, and I can hear him in this song very clearly. So I feel like I should have won. No, I'm just kidding. I'm so happy that I've got the comic, and I feel like I've won already just by listening to this, you know. And also a special shout out to Marcela Bovio. She is doing a phenomenal job in here as well. I can hear her. For people unfamiliar with Jan Willem Ketelaars, he was also an understudy in the Theater Equation. Hello. I didn't really show that in the previous video, did I? I'm wearing the Theater Equation shirt. I'm such an airhead lately. And he was also one of the backing vocals in Into the Electric Castle Live. So, he is very involved with Ayreon, and I appreciate that. I like his voice. Condemned Without a Trial might just be my favorite song on this album, as I've heard so far. Which is surprising, because it doesn't have Tommy in it. I mean, what? This song actually reminds me of, let me look that up. From the latest Seventh Wonder album, which is called Tiara, which is an amazing album, by the way. You should definitely listen to that. For some reason, it reminds me of By the Light of the Funeral Pyres. That's the song that I was thinking of. Like, the music, especially, with the rallying people behind it. There's this part on Tiara where, like, a lot of people are screaming like a chorus. It's from Farewell, Part 1 Tiara song. Farewell, Tiara, this song is yours from Sahara to the seven seas it soars. A million voices stand and sing this chorus, O Tiara, savior of our dying shores. So it's like the complete opposite emotion that's conveyed, but like, it reminded me of that, like people screaming for something. For like one girl. That's similar in that way. That's probably horribly inaccurate, but I'm standing with that, dang it. Seventh Wonder is amazing. Moving on to the next song, which is called Daniel's Funeral. So, he dead. But we already knew that because he's in Transitus. So, not much of a surprise there. Oh no, if Abby dies, her father, which is her husband, will inherit the money, the house, the entire fortune. Why? Wait. Oh, okay, so because Daniel's already dead, and they were married, so they probably shared their fortune. So whatever fortune Daniel and Abby had, the father, and thus Lavinia as well, will inherit that. Okay, so Henry is a douchebag here, not Lavinia. Well, Lavinia too, because it's her stepdaughter, and you would think that she would want to protect her stepdaughter, but turns out she does not care. She only cares about herself and the fact that she's haunted by Daniel. So, great stepmom. Now it's the mom that's evil. Arjen, it doesn't help if you make a good dad, but then subsequently make an evil mom. Ayreon doesn't really have a good track record with moms either, now that I think about it, because honestly, I still think the mom from The Theory of Everything wasn't that great either. So, parents in general just suck, according to Arjen. I can see from the lyrics that Lavinia will sing in this song, so we will finally have some singing voice from Amanda Summerfield. I look forward to that. Of course it wasn't meant to be, it's Ayreon, what did you expect? Ooh. Is that Amanda Summerfield with the chanting? Because that's great. It could also be Diana though. Maybe it's a combo of both. I don't know if you can see this. Did not expect that from Amanda, but her voice, whoo, materialized. Wait, so the way she said materialized as well. Well, she sung it, not said it, I guess. But the way that was conveyed reminded me of Computer Eyes. Materialize, computer eyes. You know, I keep feeling like I'm missing so many references, which makes me feel so bad. I was also thinking, like, the statue that is played by Mike Mills, right? It was a Roman statue, which makes me feel like that's a reference to Into the Electric Castle, because there was a Roman character in it. So, do with that what you will. The most annoying part about Henry is that he takes in all the information that he gets from the outside, and he processes it in his brain to fit his own narrative. instead of just taking it objectively. So when the people of the town were like, oh, you shouldn't mix with staff, he immediately grasped that as like a weapon against his own brother and Abby. Instead of being like, well, the people say that, and I hear that, but I still stand with my family, and I stand with love. So, and here, he's like, oh, I've sensed it too, that Daniel's spirit is here. He must be here to tell us that Abby killed him. Instead of being like, I wonder what he wants to say. Like, he's not wondering about what Daniel would want to say. He's just thinking that, oh, it's just more evidence in his brain. And that annoys me. Henry annoys me, okay? I'm kind of confused about the part that Lavinia and Henry sing together. From Henry's perspective, it makes complete sense. It's his brother, he wants to avenge him. Even though his rationale is kind of not correct. But I understand that you would want to avenge your brother. Lavinia, though. Lavinia has a connection to Abby, being her stepdaughter, not to Daniel. Well, she's the servant of Daniel, but that's not as strong as a connection as a stepdaughter. So why is she so adamant on avenging Daniel? Why does she want to condemn her stepdaughter for this guy that she works for, essentially? Just because he's cute? It doesn't make sense. The only reason why she would want to avenge Daniel is so that he will stop haunting her, I guess. That's the only reason, which is a selfish reason, and it's not because she wants to avenge Daniel. It just wants just wants to get rid of the ghost. Oh, well, that's what I get for running my mouth. I just heard the last part of the song. I just finished listening to the song, and the last few lyrics kind of absolve Lavinia, because she says, I'm pretty convinced, but what if we are wrong? Then we will condemn my stepdaughter, and that's wrong as well. So, okay, I'll give Lavinia some points. There you go. Here's your point. Your 1 point. Alright, so now we're moving on to the third song, which is called Hopelessly Slipping Away. Now, this song was already released as a single, which means I've already heard it once. It was the counterpart to Get Out Now, according to Ayreon. Like, Get Out Now was very rocky and metal and stuff, and Hopelessly Slipping Away is more of the romance, the slow, the sensible. Oh my god, Tommy's screaming, my heart still breaks! Oof, he can act, man. I just now realized that she is thinking about suicide, which kind of... It's like a Romeo and Juliet thing, right? It kind of makes sense that she would want to do that. This was what I was thinking with the previous song too. Why would Daniel reach out to Lavinia of all people? Like, would you not go to the one you love and try to give them ammunition to free themselves? Or at least comfort them. Let them know that you know that they didn't kill you. Like, I think that would be priority number 1. Like, making Abby feel better about herself and not perform suicide. Okay? Perform suicide. Commit suicide. You know. But he does that now, so good job, Daniel. First you haunt the stepmom. Why would you pick the stepmom? Well, maybe he doesn't know who he's haunting. Like, he meant it for the father to see it. Because he knows the father is a decent guy. But still... That's weird, because Lavinia also said she actually felt the pain, so it looks like Daniel specifically targeting Lavinia, because she actually feels it. She doesn't only see it, she feels it. Which I think is an odd choice for Daniel. If you have like 7 days and 7 nights, I would pick someone else. Who would you pick though? Like I said, the father would be a very good choice. But it seems that both the father and Lavinia don't have that much influence because, you know, they're poor, they're servants. So, actually, I think I would go with Henry. Because the father is too high up. The father doesn't care. I don't think the father even cares about Daniel, to be honest. Henry is very susceptible. It would be difficult because Henry sees everything and then takes his own thing out of that. He is not very objective. Henry is very influential. You could see it in the Condemned Without a Trial song that he rallied the people, you know? So I think Henry would be a best bet. It would be difficult, but I think if you specifically only targeted Henry and dedicated all your attention to Henry, you could make him come around, I think. But let's talk about the actual song now. Man, I get so rambly sometimes. I'm impressed with both Cammy and Tommy. Well, Tommy is no surprise. I heard Cammy's voice as like this powerful yet feminine voice in previous songs, but this song shows she can do other things too. Like this, she's so subdued. You can really feel like her hopelessness. And Tommy's voice is very emotive, and it perfectly conveys that he wants to help her. Like you can hear that he's sad about her mental state. And you can also hear that he's trying to give her hope. Man, for people that are just playing a part, that are not actors, by the way, that's wow. Just wow. Just wow. This song is wow. The next song is This Human Equation, which is, if I didn't get this reference, I would be a dum-dum. It's obviously a reference to the human equation. The song is called that because the Angel of Death goes through what the Forever people went through in the human equation. Namely, that they are looking down upon a very emotional situation with very complex emotions and a lot of different emotions. They are looking down on that and they are trying to understand it and not entirely grasping it. Again, for plot points, unless this gets relevant later, it kind of detracts from the actual story of Abby and Daniel that I want to know more about. I want to see what Daniel does to convince other people that Abby is innocent. But it does fit the narrative, and it does give you like a little breather, which I appreciate. And also the song itself, like without the meaning or anything, just the music and the performance and everything, is very, like, I could hear this being played live. I could see this being played live and a lot of people like jumping and screaming along, and Simone with her little nice. I could totally picture that, and that is an amazing picture to picture, I have to say. So this song is like, this is one of the songs in this album that you can listen to on its own. And I guess that's why it was also released as a single, because it works perfectly as a single. It's a very, like, a song in and of itself. It's like a boxed off song. I think this is like the dumb piece of rock from the second part of this album. It's good. It's very good. It's like something that would be played live and people would go insane over it. If we ever get live, oh my gosh, depression sinking in, oh god. It's very strong on its own, and I appreciate that. Just from a lore perspective, it doesn't really fit in, and it feels kind of shoehorned in. But that doesn't mean I don't like the song. I really like this song. I really like Dumb Piece of Rock as well. So it just takes me out of the story, and I'm so invested in the story. I need to know more. Also, Angel of Death, shout out to you. I just want to talk to you one-on-one and tell you that even humans don't know the human equation. Trust me. I daily wonder why people are the way they are. And that's especially prevalent in these times. And that is all I will say. So Angel of Death, if you want to pick any time to look upon the humans and try to figure out what their motivation is and why they are the way they are, look at 2020. You're welcome. Present for me. Also, Forever people, you're really letting us down right now. Please, help us. Please. Okay, the next song is called Henry's Plot. And I have not read the page yet, but I just took a glance on it, as you could see. And it's a very dark page. It's a very dark comic page. It's like blue with black. And Henry's Plot as well. Usually plot means evil plot, you know? So I feel like this is not gonna be good for Abby, not gonna be good for Daniel. Evil stuff is going to happen in this song, I think. Alright, so I've heard the introduction by Tom Baker, and I've read the page. Gosh, I hate Henry. I hate Henry! Oh my gosh! He is saying that Abby needs to pay, and thus he wants Lavinia to tell Abby that she got a message that Daniel wants her to be on his side. which would cause her to commit suicide. Which is the most evil thing. Because if Henry was like just a susceptible, self-indulging, arrogant guy who is not evil, then he would just put her on trial because he's so convinced that she did it. So he must be convinced that she would be convicted guilty and would thus be hanged or burned or whatever they did in those days. But instead, he wants to make her feel so bad that she would want to take her own life. Instead of just her life being taken by an unfair trial. That is evil, because the result would be the actual same for Henry. She would be dead. But the way he wants her to die is the most evil way you can imagine. Now let's listen to the actual song and see how Paul Manzi conveys this comic page, because I need to hear how evil that is. Wait, that little tingle after the narration. Oh, it sounds so oddly familiar. Oh, it sounds like the source will flow. Interesting. I don't know if that was actually the intention for it to sound like that. It sounds a little different, I'll admit, but I guess it's the same instrument, maybe. Amanda Somerville. She has such a great singing song, and she just acted out her last sentence, and wow. I like her. Yeah. Amanda Somerville's good. Lavinia's not, but Amanda Somerville's good. And indeed, Paul Manzi made Henry sound as evil as he possibly could, and good job on that. This song shows me that Henry is indeed influential, like I surmised earlier, that his words can sway people in his direction. So he convinces Lavinia, because previously she said that, what if we are wrong and I don't want to be wrong, and that kind of thing. And now she's like, I'm 100% sure that we are right and this is what has to be done. And that's because Henry influenced her to think that. Does that make Henry evil? Not entirely. He just thinks this is right. I don't know if that makes him evil. It does make him evil that he thinks this is the best way to do it. There are many other ways for a human to die, and not suicide. Let's not do that, Henry, okay? Great. Glad we agree. Wait, we don't? We don't agree? Huh. I don't like you, Henry. Alright, so the next song is called Message from Beyond. So I feel like Daniel is finally, well, not finally, he's been doing stuff already. I know. But we haven't really seen it from his perspective yet. That he is haunting people and he's trying to convey something. So I hope this song will show us what he is actually trying to do. Trying to accomplish. Okay, so the title, Message from Beyond, now that I've heard the narration, is not talking about Daniel actually giving a message, but it's the fake message that was discussed in the previous song. Okay, that sucks. The first comic panel of this page, where Abby is lying on the couch, that's me 24/7 lately. That's a big mood, as they say. I still like Abby's character in this. She makes it seem like she believes Lavinia, which will comfort Lavinia and will cause Lavinia to leave the room. But she thinks to herself that she doesn't believe it, which is great. That's exactly how you should handle this situation, I think. You should make the other person think that you believe them, but don't believe them. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether she believes the stepmom or not, because she was already planning on committing suicide anyway, even without this message from beyond. If I were Abby, I would think like, okay, if this is truly what Daniel wants, for me to join him in the afterlife, why would he not come to me? Why would he go to my stepmom, of all people? Because she's already sensed that he was with her, and he did not convey to her that he wanted her to be with him in the afterlife. He conveyed that he wanted her to live. That's reason enough to not believe Lavinia in the first place. So the plan is kind of stupid, because Abby already, can reason this out. And Abby is smart enough to reason this out. Abby is a very smart, independent, strong girl. And I love it. I am here for it. And by the way, if I catch you thinking now that why would she kill herself for a guy? Why would she kill herself to be with someone if you claim that she is so independent? You can still be independent and strong and love someone as much as Abby does. Those are not mutually exclusive. You can be a very girl power strong individual and still love someone. You can be individual and strong in a relationship. Alright? So don't give me that. Don't give me that like, oh, Abby is so weak, she just wants to kill herself to be with Daniel because she can't live without him. She probably could, because she's strong. She could live without Daniel. She just doesn't want to. She prefers being with Daniel. But she could not do it. She could just stay here. She could. She just chooses not to. And that's a very important distinction. So I'm listening to the song now, and Abby wants to believe Lavinia. Of course she would want to believe Lavinia. Because it would fit her narrative. It would fit what she wants to. Also, can I just say how good Amanda and Cammie's voice blend together? And can I just say how Cammie, again, used her depressed voice? I don't know if that's really a nice thing to say, but like it sounds so low and so hopeless and so sad. When she started singing, I almost cried, like genuinely. And Amanda, I hope that she will be on another Ayreon album because her voice is great. I like it. I like it a lot. Like, even though she is portraying like kind of an evil character, not evil. What am I trying to say? Like, she's not doing the right things in this story. Let's keep it at that. She's not a hero at all. But even though she's playing that kind of character, you can still hear in Amanda's voice the kind of personality she is herself. Like, you can hear Amanda's personality in the voice, and she seems like a very fun, great person. So I really hope that she will work again with Ayreon. This song shows how important it is to have the comic with it, because the song shows you that Abby believes Lavinia, and she goes along with the plan that Henry and Lavinia concocted. While in the comic, you get a little bit of background. You see that she doesn't believe Lavinia, but it doesn't matter because she wants to commit suicide anyway. But it's a different perspective. Okay, the next song is called Daniel's Vision, and in the song Daniel has a vision. Daniel's time, his 7 days and 7 nights, are almost up, and he has failed to save Abby. And he is about to give up when he suddenly gets inspiration, and he suddenly knows one more thing he can do. And the comic shows that when I died, it felt like Lavinia was there with me. Which makes me think that that is the reason why he keeps haunting Lavinia and not other people. Maybe she is connected to the spirit world somehow, like a medium. And that is very accurate, what Daniel says, because in the previous songs, the comic shows her looking in a crystal ball. And the narration also mentions the crystal ball. So she is indeed like more closely connected to the spirit world. And that's probably why maybe Daniel, maybe Daniel is haunting other people, but she's the only one that can actually really make sense of it, because she's more closely connected to the spirit world. So, okay, I like this. I was constantly wondering, why the stepmom? That makes no sense, but now it does. Okay, plot coming together. I like it. Okay, wow, Tommy's voice. That is all. That's the entire thing I was gonna say. Tommy's voice. Moving on to the next song, shall we? Next song is called She is Innocent. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm pausing the song here for a sec, because that is brilliant musician stuff. It's the same rhythm, but just much more slow, as Fatum Horrificum, part F, Guilty, that Abby sings. Daddy, I am guilty. That part, it's the same as what Daniel sings now in She is Innocent, but like slower. That's brilliant stuff. That comes back around. Oh, that's woo! That's great. That's awesome. And then as the song progresses, it comes into that same rhythm as Abby had before. It starts slow. So I think that symbolizes that he is materializing in front of Lavinia. So it's slow at first, and then he materializes more and more, so the rhythm kicks in. And he gets the same rhythm as Abby, who is a living being, who is actually on this earth. So that's brilliant! That's absolutely magnificent! Wow. Okay. That song ramps up, and whoo, I'm out of breath. Woo! Amanda's voice blends great with everyone. It blended great with Cammy, and now it blends great with Tommy, and she believes him. So she's not evil. She believes what is actually happening to her, and she's unlike Henry, who would fit his own narrative with that information. She actually believes Daniel, and I hope she's going to do something with this information. Please, please. Just don't be like, oh, well, I effed up. Yeah, that's a shame. Please go to Abby. Please stop her from committing suicide. Thanks. You're welcome. I mean, what? I don't know. Just stop her. Next song is called Lavinia's Confession. I wonder who she's going to confess to. Hopefully not Henry. I love the sense of urgency in the song. Usually Tom Baker's voice is over some really quiet music so you can hear his voice really well. Now the music just keeps going even though he's narrating. And in the comic, a lot of normal sentences have an exclamation mark on the end now. So there's this really overall sense of urgency. She does not run to Henry. Thank everything, she does not run to Henry. She runs to the father. While I think that makes the most sense for someone in her emotional state to do, run to your husband, I think it would have been better if she just ran to Abby straight away. Because this takes time. This takes time. And now you're putting some kind of guilt on the father if he arrives too late. Maybe I was gonna say maybe she should have thought that through, but I don't think she could have thought anything through at that point because she is losing her mind. Ooh, I love Abraham's how? Like, Johann James is an amazing vocalist. I never knew this. I'm so glad he got more lyrics than just that beginning part. I'm glad he's in this again. I feel sorry for Lavinia, because she was obviously just influenced. But she says, I never meant to cause her any harm. And she repeats that several times, which is absolute BS because she dang well knew that if she was going to convey that message to Abby, that she would kill herself. That's literally what you were planning to do. You wanted her to commit suicide. So you definitely meant her harm. Okay? That irks me. Like, I like that she has come around and she's trying to fix her mistake. But don't say you didn't mean any harm in the first place. You definitely did. You're just coming around to it now. Okay, let's move this sense of urgency on through and go to the next song, which is called Inferno. Alright, so Abraham doesn't even really listen to what Lavinia has to say. She just says Abby, and he's like, my daughter! And he runs off. And I think in this case, that's kind of the smart thing to do because you can get the story afterwards. You just gotta save your daughter first. And there's no time to lose. So he runs to the house and the house is on fire because she's trying to kill herself the same way that Daniel died, by burning herself. Oof. That's heartbreaking. I like the part that it says, without hesitation, Abraham rushes into the blaze to save Abby. That's a good dad. Great job, Ayreon. You wrote a good dad. Oh, I haven't listened to the song yet, but I just finished the page. I read the comic page first, and then I listen to the song, so that the song makes more sense to me. Abraham dies! Abraham dies by running into that. God damn it. So that means Abby is dead too. There's no way that Abby survived that, but Abraham didn't. Lavinia essentially killed Abraham this way too. If she had just gone to Abby, she would have died. But that makes more sense than Abraham dying, because she was actually at fault. Even though she came around, I know, but she is at fault here. Ah, he does not deserve that. I was just singing the praises on how of a good dad Abraham is. Oh no, I hate everything. That's good shit, holy shit! Oh, it's ramping up so much over several songs and I'm losing my mind and oh my god, I'm doing squats now or whatever this is, jumping jacks, I don't know. Oh my god! So yeah, the song confirms as well that both are dead because Abraham says, why did we die? He could have meant Daniel and himself, but I'm pretty sure he means Abby and himself. That sucks. I want to point out that this album would not nearly be what it is without the Hellscore choir. I can't even talk. I can't even talk. The choir is so full and so dominating that it just, I don't know. I can't talk anymore. I don't even know what they are singing because it's all Latin, but I wish I knew. But it's so in your face. It's so full, it's so loud, it's so good. It's so good. I gotta go to the next song. We're going to the next song. I can't even form a coherent thought anymore, so we're just moving on, okay? The next song is called Your Story Is Over. Ooh, that's dark, Ayreon. That's real dark. Abraham died and goes to Lavinia. And Lavinia is closely connected to the spirit world. So Lavinia sees her husband and realizes that he's dead. That he died in the fire that Abby created to kill herself. She's so shocked by this, even though you would think like this is like, what, so many ghosts you've seen now? But it's her husband, so I get it. She gets shocked so much that she tumbles down the stairs and dies. Everybody dies was on the source, not on this album. What's going on? The dark part, though, that I just mentioned, is that the narrator says that she stumbles down the stairs, and as soon as he says that, you hear the first drum. And that drum really sounds like a skull cracking open after falling down from a stair. Am I the only one that hears that? Because that's dark. That's really dark. Lavinia dies, and she is greeted upon the Angel of Death and her Furies. They have not been able to send anyone to hell for a while, because they granted Daniel mercy by giving him 7 days and 7 nights. They want some fun, I think. They are looking for a snack to send to hell, and there's Lavinia. They do not listen to Lavinia's plights, because Lavinia, rightfully, in my opinion, claims that she was misled. I feel like she should have been given a chance, like the Furies and the Angel of Death gave Daniel as well. Even though Daniel did absolutely nothing wrong. Daniel is a pure baby. She has done things wrong, yes, but it's not Henry. But they are done with giving people, like granting people good stuff. They just wanna slam somebody down to hell. You can really see that in the comic. Wait. That's fascinating. The first time that Daniel comes across the Angel of Death, he goes, "So who the hell are you?" And now Lavinia is dead and she comes across the Angel of Death for the first time and she says it in the exact same way as Daniel did, "So who the hell are you?" That's nice. I like these things coming together. It's interesting. The first part that the Angel of Death sings is the exact same as what she says to Daniel. It's the exact same. Although to Daniel she says into the great beyond. So I guess that means heaven. But to Lavinia she says into the underworld, which is hell. Ooh, that very last acting. That was so intense. Ooh, that last sentence. Ooh. Okay, so this song is basically a reprise from Listen to My Story. It's a reprise of that, but it's not Daniel this time, it's Lavinia. The song is like exactly the same. And the lyrics are the same, obviously. But that Amanda is able to sing the lyrics in the exact same way as Tommy did. Even though they have never been in the same studio. They have all recorded in their own studios, I think, maybe. Maybe they had the same guide vocals, is what I think. That's really good, because that enhances the story, that it's exactly the same. So great job on this song. You can really hear that even though the Angel of Death is saying the same things, there's a different intention behind it. Because at first she was kind of curious about Daniel's story, but now she's like, okay, everyone pleads for their lives. Literally everyone. The same thing happens over and over, which is why the song is the same. People will plead for their lives because of things that are personal to them, and everyone has their own story, and she is the one who has to listen to all those damn things, which makes it even more surprising that she actually listened to Daniela, because he's cute, you know. That was literally the only reason. Next song is called Abby in Transitus, so that confirms that Abby is dead. Man, the same voice that I've been talking about is definitely present, but it is a little different now. It seems a little relieved, a little more free. Not happier, just the burden is kind of gone in a sense. I can hear that in the voice, which is so cool that you can hear these things in voices from people that are not even actors, you know? There's a sentence in here that made me think twice about something. Alone and purposeless, spared of all the blame. Which made me think about what I said earlier, that suicide would be the worst, like the most evil thing for Henry to do. But in a way, Abby took fate in her own hands and she killed herself by her own choice. Instead of like a jury deciding that she's guilty even though she wasn't, and she would be blamed for the death of her loved one, and she would be unjustly murdered for it. So in a way, her committing suicide fits her character because it's the strong thing to do. Man, that's so intriguing. That's really cool. There's so much in this album. I can't wait for the last song. It's the last song already, guys. I'm so sad now. But it has 2 comic pages for this last song, which is great. Last song is called The Great Beyond. So hopefully that means that both Abby and Daniel are going to heaven, because at this point so much sadness has happened. Please give me something good. Please. Please, I need it. Oh my gosh. So like I said before, I'm reading the comic first before listening to the song. And there's a panel there. There's a gate. And that gate leads to the Great Beyond, apparently. And that, ladies and gentlemen, what you can see in that gate looks like the cover of the Human Equation. What does that mean? I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Because there's also a song in this album called This Human Equation. Because in the Human Equation, the spoiler alert, the main character survives. He wakes up from the coma, so he doesn't die. So he doesn't go to the Great Beyond. Does that mean that the main character of the Human Equation was in Transitus? Is that what it means? Or was he actually in the Great Beyond, but brought back to life? No, he wasn't dead, so he couldn't have been in the Great Beyond. He was in a coma. He wasn't dead. So can people that get in a coma also get in Transitus? I don't think so, right? Because you need to actually die to get in Transitus. That's strange. Please let me know in the comments what you think about the cover of the Human Equation being in the Great Beyond. Because that's... I can't wrap my head around it. She's able to discern the figure of a man. Not just any man. You know what's coming there. There's only one body that will look like that. I need to stop this. I need to stop being me. Woo! Cammy's voice! What? Okay, so when Tommy started to sing, I didn't think it was Tommy. I didn't know his voice could do this. Oh... What even is this album? I'm experiencing so many things. Oh, Tommy riffing is the best thing. Okay. I don't know what I expected from the end. It just really ended really fast. It felt to me that it ended really fast. Like, I feel like I would have wanted like a minute more of that music, and then like slowly fading away or something like that. It ended really abruptly. But, that is the end of Transitus. Let me read the last page, because the last comic page is an epilogue, which does not have a song to accompany it. Oh my god! Okay, so the comic tells us that Henry dies a couple years later, and the Angel of Death and the Furies have been waiting for this moment. You can see the glee on their faces, like, oh, we're gonna torture this guy! Oh, the Angel of Death is priceless. Okay, so closing thoughts on this album. The first half, I wasn't entirely sure. I liked it. I still think this is my opinion, that I like the Theory of Everything more and the Source. But this is a really good album. I have to say, it's a really good album. Ayreon really tried something different with this. I can feel it in everything. Like the significant Ayreon sounds are in there, but it really feels like he tried something different. You can see it with, there's a comic book. Also, Daniel's supposed to be the main character, but I feel like he didn't feel like a main character. He felt like a cog in the machine. I felt like every character had a place in the story, except for the statue. I really wanted that to be significant. I really wanted that to come back in the second part, but alas, it didn't. I'm sorry, Mike Mills. I still love you. Every character was like evolved. Every character had like a character progression. Every character was interesting. The interesting thing is that I think the best songs are the ones that I complained about. A Dumb Piece of Rock and This Human Equation. Those kind of songs. The songs that really stood on their own, I think were the best songs. And the songs that really didn't fit into the story were the best songs. Which is an interesting take, I feel like. I feel like the story and the songs that really helped that plot move forward were their own thing. And then there were also songs or parts of songs sprinkled in that made the album better. That will cause me to listen to Transitus more often, but probably those loose songs, mostly. Ayreon never lets you down. Never lets you down. So it doesn't surprise me that this is a good album. It really is a good, great album. And I like the story, and I was so invested in the story. Death was the best thing that could have happened to Daniel and Abby. And that sounds really weird, I know. But in the living world, they were always scrutinized. People always tried to tear them apart. They couldn't fully enjoy their relationship because there was always scrutinization and fear, and they are released of that now. That actually makes me cry. That's so sad. Even though it seems like a tragedy that Daniel died and that Abby killed herself over that, I think that it's the best thing that could have happened to them because now they can be together. It ended well. They are together in the great beyond. And they can finally be who they want to be. Not even in a relationship sense. But I feel like Daniel was very oppressed and had to fit in a certain thing. While he wanted something different. Abby, for example. But that's only like an example of that he wanted to be more free. And now he is. And why am I choking up? Transitus. Fun. The singers in this are all of them great singers. There was not one of them that I thought, oh, they were a little less. I am a huge fan of Tommy Karavik, and I thought I was gonna fangirl like crazy over Tommy, but it didn't happen because everyone was equally as good as Tommy. Everyone was equal. So the singers were great. The music was also very great. There were a lot of different instruments. The choir, I cannot forget about the choir. The choir was, oh my god, Hellscore Choir, you are amazing. TLDR, Transitus good album. Thank you very much. Thanks for your attention. This was my TED Talk. I hope you enjoyed listening along with me in this video. I really enjoyed doing this, and I hope you want to continue the discussion about the story in the comment section below. I am very curious to see if I missed anything, if you think something different than I do. Let's just share experiences and share thoughts, okay? I hope you had as much fun as I did. I never know how to end videos, do I? Get out now! Don't you ever come back here. But please do. I'm fun. I'm nice, I promise. Doei doei! If you ever want real proof how much of a fan I am of Tommy, here behind my recording cloth is my room, and yep, there it is, people.